A session begins. You cross the threshold. An action is taken, a single choice made in isolation. A result appears. The system resets. The board clears. The next action is available immediately. We tend to perceive this as a sequence, a line moving from a start to a finish, but the architecture functions as a closed circuit. When the reset completes, it feeds directly back into the initiation. By removing the start and stop points found in the physical world, the environment creates a state of permanent availability. Modern online gambling systems prioritize repetition as their core design principle. These environments are designed for something other than occasional or considered play. They require unending interaction to maintain their internal logic. The physical layout of the interface ensures that the conclusion of one step serves as the trigger for the next. The software lacks a structural exit or a point where the game signals it is time to leave. Action, result, reset. Action. The cycle restarts the millisecond the previous one concludes. When an environment provides absolutely no structural endpoint, momentum replaces conscious choice as the primary driver of behavior. In physical environments, these cycles are dictated by the constraints of the real world. You walk to a window, wait for a dealer to shuffle, or watch a wheel slow down. These are moments of friction that enforce a delay. Digital environments are built to remove these pauses entirely. As the distance collapses, the loop tightens. Actions set flush against one another, removing the air between decisions. This compression creates a massive spike in the volume of user choices. A session that once took hours in a physical casino is now condensed into a few minutes of digital play. By erasing the physical time required to move between actions, the system strips away the window needed to evaluate the consequences of those actions. Every cycle represents a decision, and every decision introduces a fresh layer of exposure to the system's mathematical advantage. When cycles are slow, the house edge, the small percentage the system keeps, takes a long time to manifest in the player's balance. But as the loop accelerates, that mathematical certainty accumulates with aggressive speed. A single isolated action might feel harmless because it allows for high variance, a lucky break that defies the odds. Repetition eliminates that variance. The more often you play, the more the law of large numbers takes over. 10 small decisions made in rapid succession often house 10 opportunities to apply its edge, making them more statistically dangerous than one large decision made slowly. System architects prioritize high-frequency design because repetitive microactions transform a game of chance into a mathematical guarantee of loss. It is often assumed that a zero balance functions as a terminal point for the cycle. In this architecture, however, depletion is treated as a signal within the flow. The moment funds reach zero, the deposit mechanism appears in the same visual space as the game itself. The balance updates, the system resets, and the loop continues without a break. The deposit bridges the gap, ensuring the player never exits the environment. Funding is a native extension of the play cycle, designed to maintain forward momentum. By integrating capital replenishment into the spatial flow, the system bypasses the final checkpoint that would otherwise force a player to stop. Historically, depletion triggered a physical barrier. You had to leave the table, walk to an ATM, and physically handle cash. This required a reset of the mind as well as the body. Modern interfaces provide instant spatial continuation. The digital space contains no structural barriers or enforced delays. The cycle remains intact even when the player's initial resources are gone. Preserving this unbroken momentum state keeps the player's exposure at its peak, as there is no friction to encourage a departure. Inside the system, the experience feels like a series of novel events. Changing symbols and fluctuating results give the impression that each input is unique. Beneath that surface, the engine is executing an identical structural cycle. Excessive speed prevents the player from noticing this repetition. Inside the digital loop, velocity creates a blur that masks the sheer volume of choices being made, hiding the accumulation of risk. This environment does not rely on aggressive pressure to influence choice. Its primary purpose is the creation of a vacuum of resistance. The system achieves its goals by removing barriers rather than adding them. When temporal and physical friction disappear, continuation becomes the default behavior. Repetition drives mathematical exposure, and speed compresses that repetition into a single high-velocity stream. This raises a critical question about the state of a player, making rapid-fire decisions inside this specific trap. We call this structural phenomenon velocity risk.